Hello everyone, welcome to NerdChat. Hope you're all doing well today and not nearly as annoyed as I am. I woke up to construction literally outside my window while I live on the third floor of my apartment. I don't know what they're doing. It looks like they're taking bricks outside of my windows. And they tore up my downstairs neighbor's windows a lot more than mine. But my chair that I keep on my patio has a nice fine layer of dirt and dust on it and a bunch of chunks of brick. So, that's how my day started. However, we're covering Superman Batman issue number 4. So this one starts out with us looking at the space image of our now named Asteroid X, which is not very inventive, and they definitely comment on that in the issue. But Superman is thinking about when he was a kid. His dad used to always take him to. So Batman and Superman are still surrounded by the villain, or not surrounded by the villains. They're looking at the what they thought was the cavalry, but it's all the other heroes that are here to take them in. So, but I'm gonna go quickly. These comics can be a bit hard to narrate because there's 3 or 4 stories going on at any time, because we get Superman flashbacks, Batman flashbacks, the main story, and then sometimes stuff from Lex's point of view as well. So I'm gonna go through their thought processes first, and then I'll get back to what is actually happening in real time. So Superman's thoughts right now is that when he was a kid, his dad would always take him to Smallville High for football games, because his dad used to play there, and every time they would watch Smallville lose. And Batman is thinking of the times that he used to walk the streets with Jim Gordon, and Jim would speak about how he felt the shadows seemed to be more alive than the people in Gotham. So Clark's dad would admit that at the end of every game, their team stinks. They lose every time, and their team stinks, and that's that. And Jim would talk about how the city seems to be just another level of hell. But Clark would ask, why is it that they go to the games if Smallville always loses? And Jonathan tells him, well, they have to have hope. They might win. And Batman would ask Jim, why is it that he doesn't move away? He's retired, there's no ties to Gotham, he can just leave. He doesn't have to stay in the city if he seems that it's so, if it's so dark and depressing and possibly evil. But Jim would just say, hope, Batman. We can't lose sight of that. So both men find it hard to see hope in their current situation. They've just fought a gauntlet of supervillains, and now they're literally fugitives of the law because the United States government is coming down on them. My cat just threw up. Anyway, so they have to engage with the team that's been sent to fight them. So as they're putting up with, or as they're fighting, Superman sees how Batman is pressed on through tragedy and thinks that, just in comparison to what Batman's had to deal with, Superman has nothing to complain about. And Batman looks at Superman as this unstoppable force of good, and he'll be damned if he lets Superman go down before him. So all this is happening as they're fighting Luthor's squad of superheroes, and they're putting up a fight, but Batman and Superman decide to enact Plan B. So Batman grabs Katana and holds them to the ground while Superman creates a tornado and then flies away with Power Girl. There's a major force, Captain Atom. They start to argue over whose fault it is that they got away, because they realize that Batman and Katana are both gone and Superman just flew off with Power Girl. So once again we move on to Lex, and he's deep underground in the White House with Amanda Waller. And she's questioning him about if he had thought through his actions, because, Lex says that he has thought about little else, and he stands by his attack on Superman, but everything that he's doing seems so out of character from the person that he's been painting himself as to the public ever since he's become president. So he hopes to repeal this 22nd Amendment that restricts presidents' terms in office to 2, because he wants to keep being president, and he thinks that he's doing a great job. But then he injects himself with what's gotta be kryptonite, and Waller asks about something off in the shadows that we can't see, and Lex simply says that it's the future. And then he forcefully and very uncomfortably kisses Waller. Moving on. We move on to Japan, where Batman and Katana have just teleported to, and Katana explains that her loyalty is to Japan first, not Lex. So stopping the asteroid is the most important thing. It's more important than bringing Batman and Superman in. Superman and Power Girl arrive, and they explain that Black Lightning and Green Lantern can also be trusted. They won't just blindly follow Lex's orders. But Major Force is their biggest danger. Speaking of which, the rest of them have just arrived and the fight continues, but it's cut literally short when Katana cuts off Major Force's hands. So Superman orders Green Lantern and Starfire to contain the blast, which Starfire resists, and Superman makes it clear that lives are at risk, and she's like, well, what authority do you have over me? And he says, when lives are at risk, I am always the one in charge. So they do their best to contain the blast, and Batman explains to Captain Atom how many lives will be lost if he and Superman turn themselves in, and he has to go in and absorb that explosion. And while Captain Atom agrees, before he goes in, he looks at Superman and turns to him and says, turn himself in, because only guilty men run. So Atom absorbs the blast, which takes him, John, and Starfire all out. So Major Force is just like a crumpled rag on the ground, and Captain Atom is gone, but everyone else is unconscious aside for Batman, Superman, Katana, and Power Girl. So at that point, Superman mentions that they better be getting to that boy, because that's what's important now. And over with the JSA, Wonder Woman decided bringing in the Justice League to stop Batman, and Superman will probably just ignite World War III. So she has Mr. Terrific send just two people who they know won't hold back to stop them, and that's Captain Marvel, or Shazam, and Hawkman. Our main heroes arrive on the mountain, and Superman wanted to stay below the radar they're approaching, so we don't know who this is yet, and why they would want to be cautious approaching him, but whoever it is, it's a kid who has a IQ of 210. So once they get there, and Batman says, if we got here, it's because he let us get here. So Batman tells Katana, no matter what, keep going. Even if Superman and him are not there, everything hinges on this boy completing his work before Luthor finds out. So Katana says it's clear that the boy only wanted to talk to Superman, but Batman says he's 13. You can find a way to distract him, and they all look at Power Girl, because, So at the moment, Captain Marvel, or Shazam, whatever he's being called, he attacks Superman, and Hawkman throws a net on Batman. So Katana and Power Girl take off. Now, their fight isn't going great. So Shazam has, advantage because he's, pretty much as strong as Superman, but he's magic-based, which is something that Superman is weak to. And so they decide and Batman's fight isn't going great either, so they decide to switch opponents. Turns out they were pretty ready for this. Hawkman hits Superman with a glove called the Claw of Horus, which basically hits him with the force of the entire gravitational weight of the planet. And then Captain Marvel, who has changed back into Billy Batson, kind of throws Batman for a loop for a second to see a kid around, Robin's age. And Batman asks the boy, what his name is, and Shazam, or Billy, looks up at him and says, Shazam, which strikes Batman with magical lightning. So the two call Mr. Terrific while we see our heroes defeated, saying that they have accomplished their mission. And that is the end of that. Jeez, this video went a lot longer. Oh, yeah, it's because I had that break. So anyway, that's where we end off issue 4. So there's 2 more left, issues 5 and 6, which will wrap all this up. This series does kind of continue, but this story gets wrapped up pretty much in these 6 issues. So that's what I'm covering right now. So I hope that you'll stick around to come back in the next couple weeks to finish off this story with me. I hope that you've enjoyed what you have watched so far, and other stuff is, if you want to talk to me directly, you can join my Discord. There's a link to that in the description below. Otherwise, please check out some of the other videos I have on screen. Also, if you want to watch some other content from me, I do have a channel where I back up a lot of gaming things I do, whether that be highlights or just backups of old streams that I did. So that's all up on screen now. If you want to check out any of that, I please encourage that you do. And I will talk to you all soon. Thank you, and goodbye.